Just wanted to again welcome you to the graduate school at Charleston Southern and also welcome you to MSOM 600. I know this can be overwhelming for a lot of folks getting started. Many of you may have not had an online class before, and some of you may have had one, but this will be a little different. And so I just wanted to provide this course overview video to help you get started. You should have received this email from me um, that talks about getting started. Kind of an appropriate title, right? And so it has a lot of stuff on it. And so what I wanted to do is break this down a bit and go through the pieces of information. This, again, was for a course that started January the 4th of 2021. But this video will apply in future sessions as well. So don't get too freaked out if the key dates are different on this than the class that you're currently in. I'm just using this as my baseline example. So the first thing that you need to do is to review something called Start Here and take the test. The Start Here is something that we created up here. You'll see in the left-hand margin. So you log into the course and you'll see this left-hand margin here, Start Here. Start Here is something that we created to help provide some tutorials for students to walk through the courses. So the first thing that you can do here, as soon as you click on Start Here, is check your browser. Chrome and Firefox, they say, works the best. I use Safari and I get along just fine. Navigating the course, there's a video here on announcements. Most of these are pretty short, so it's not like you're going to be watching a ton of announcements. Talks about weekly lessons, discussion boards, submitting assignments, and how do you check your grades. Buckmail. Buckmail is really important because it is the way that I will communicate and your future professors will communicate with you. We do not send things to, as a matter of fact, the federal government does not allow us to send school-related information to private email addresses. So everything's going to come to your CSU email, so make sure that you check it regularly. The CSU online library, they call it OneSource, is going to be very, very important. It will be your research friend as you go forward. So you need to make sure that you watch that video. APA is important in academic writing. Here is a bookmark for tech support. I would encourage you to bookmark that outside of Blackboard, because sometimes if you can't log into Blackboard, then you'll need that going forward. And then down here at the bottom, there is a Start Here quiz. You need to take that quiz and score at least 80% on it. Now, this is graded only so that it gives you access to all of the information in the course. So if you don't get 80% on it, you can take it as many times as you want until you do get 80%. It's not that difficult. The grade 80 doesn't count anything towards your grade in the course. It's just a way for us to be able to open up other things in the course. So you are required to take this quiz. You're required to score at least 80%, or you will not be able to see what you have to do do this week in the classes. So make sure that you do that. So this is the first place that you will be the review Start Here and take the test, okay? So the next thing here I have on the list that you received in that email is read or watch the announcements. I'm a big person with announcements, okay? And so what you'll have to do is you'll be able to go here. Every time you log in the course, you can see announcements. And right now, I just have 2 announcements in there. I have a copy of the Getting Started email that I sent you. And then you'll see up here, it's something that I put together and linked a couple of things that have a good description of the difference between master's and bachelor's degree programs. Now, the newest announcement will be on top. The oldest announcement will be down below. But make sure every time you log into the course that you look at the announcements to see if there's something that I've posted in there that you haven't seen yet. So make sure that you look at and read, and sometimes the announcements I make are video announcements, and so make sure that you do that, okay? So that's number 2 here. on the Getting Started list, you need to get access to your Read Guide textbook. Now, you have two textbooks for this course. You have one on writing, and you have one is the APA manual. The textbooks that you'll have in this entire program, some of them are going to be hard copy, and some of them are going to be digital. In this course, we have one of each, so you should already have received your APA manual, and you should have received an access card for the textbook for this course. And the name of the application is called Revel, and it's put out by Pearson Publishing. And what you have to do is you have to receive this link from me. So this is the link that you're going to need to be able to access the digital textbook for this course. Now, again, if you have iOS or you have Android, you can download the Revel app and actually view your textbook on an iPad or a smartphone. But you can also do it on your computer. But you will need to go to this particular link because this is the link to our course. Now, this gets confusing sometimes for some students. There are a lot of different things that I could do with this digital textbook, but I only use it for you to read and get the information off of it. So I don't set up tests in there. Everything I do, let's think of Blackboard as a one-stop shop. So Blackboard will be the one-stop shop, but you have to go to this outside source, Revel, to look at your digital textbook. So if you have any questions on that, make sure that you let me know. So you'll just need to copy that, paste it, and go to that source to be able to gain access. And you'll put your access card, access code information in there. So that's number 3. Number 4, review course information. So if I go back up here, down on the left-hand side, you see course information. This gives you course objectives. It tells you what we're trying to accomplish here in this very first course. Here's a copy of the syllabus. I'm always amazed that students, I did a research project on this one time and found that less than 50% of students actually look at the syllabus. That's kind of nutty, but nevertheless. And then down here you'll have the 2 textbooks we use in the course. Down here is a course map. Don't pay too much attention to that. That's just for accreditation issues, so you really don't have anything to compare on that. But if you wanted to click it open, you'll see how we link the different course objectives and weekly objectives to each other throughout the course. Okay, so let's go back down here. We had review course information. Now the next one is review week 1. So you'll see up here week 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through 7. And oh, by the way, all the courses that you have in this degree program are going to follow this same type of convention. So you don't have to relearn something new every time. Every course follows this. So assuming that you've gone through Start Here, assuming that you took the quiz, and assuming you scored at least 80% on that, you're going to be able to view all 3 pieces of this information, okay? If you haven't taken the Start Here quiz, you will not be able to view this due this week yet. So that's why it's very, very important that you go through that information, okay? So let's look at the week 1 overview. This is really important. I have a week 1 overview video that I put for each individual week, and what it does is it highlights and gives you key tips on what you're going to be doing that week and what you're going to have to be turning in. Now, I talk about some of those up here. I have week objectives up here, and that's W-E-E-K, by the way. And so make sure each week that you take the time to watch this overview video. Now, this first overview video is quite lengthy. It's like 12 minutes long. Subsequent videos are going to be 5 minutes or less, so don't get freaked out. It's just here in the very first week, I have to do more explaining than I do in subsequent weeks. But so make sure that you read that overview. And then the next thing down, and oh, by the way, all of the courses in this degree program are going to follow this same format. So you have an overview, you have read and study, and then you have do this week. So what do you have to read and study? You click on that and you'll see, okay, here in the very first week, I've got textbook readings, I have PowerPoint lectures, I've got some additional lectures that the professor put together, which, by the way, in week 1, make sure that you read this. Um, and then it has other supplemental material. Now, these could be links to outside sources. They could be videos, whatever the professor decides to put together. But in this course, you're going to have something where you'll see what the textbook readings are. Most of the textbooks readings are going to come from the read guide. I do not have specific readings from the APA manual. Make sure you hear this. I like to use the APA manual as a supplemental source that I'll direct you to occasionally. But if you had to read that APA manual from cover to cover, you know, you might be a little ill after after a few after a few reads. Okay, so make sure that you go through these. Make sure you look at these lectures too, because what they are really good PowerPoint synopsis of the readings up here. So each week you'll have a setup that will look like that under read and study. And now here comes the part where you have to do something. Okay, so let's do this week. Well, this course we've set it up such that you have some discussion forums where you will post discussions, and our discussion forums are set up where you have one initial post, and then you have a minimum of 2 response posts where you will read somebody else's discussion post, and then you will respond to them. So it's not 2 per additional student. It's 2, you know, so if there are 15 people in the class, you have 15 choices to have 2 responses, okay? So you only have to have 2 responses, but make sure these are substantive. Make sure that they have value. There are rubrics that we've created for these, so make sure that you look at the rubrics. Each professor is a little different on these. I'm a little different on mine than other professors as well. And then the second thing that I've added in this class in 2 or 3 different locations will be journals. Whereas this whole discussion is where the entire class will be able to see your posts, this journal is something that you and I will see only. So when you make your journal post to me, I will be able to look at it only, and I will reply to your journal post, and then you'll reply to my reply. Both of these, the discussion forums and the journals, your initial post on those are due by Thursday evening. And then here in the discussion, your 2 response posts are due by Sunday night, 11:59. And then here in the journal, your journal response to my response is due by Sunday night, 11:59. Okay? And then we have short answers in this. Now, short answer does not mean brief answer. What it means is rather than writing a paper for these, you have to answer the questions that I pose. And I go through this in the week 1 overview, so make sure that you look through the week 1 overview. You'll see the short answer requirements. These have to be in Microsoft Word, not PDF. And you'll see that for each one of these, I've provided a template, and I've provided a requirement on how you have to save the file for me. And I go into detail on that in the week 1 overview. Okay? And then finally, what you're going to be doing, and this is the biggest thing that you have in the course, is you're going to be writing a paper. Now, the key thing for me in this class, if you listen to and watch my introduction, you're going to see I am not an academic. Even though I've worked in higher education the last 12 years, my background is in corporate business. So I approach this course and I approach writing not from an academic only perspective. I approach it from a business proposal and academic perspective. So what I'm trying to do here is to demonstrate to you that good, effective writing and paper format and flow not only is beneficial to get you a good grade in college, but it is beneficial and will get you a promotion in the real world. And so that's why it's important for you to put these together. I have students all the time who go, you know, I don't understand APA, this doesn't make any sense to me. And what I try to tell them, and most get it, but some do not, is to understand that your boss will throw your proposal in the trash can if it's full of errors, if it doesn't make sense, if they have to hunt and find your main points. And so what I'm going to be creating for you over the next few weeks is an outline and a process for you to use that will be beneficial in this degree program over the next 10 courses that you take, as well as your professional life when you put together proposals, all right? So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be writing a paper. And I've given you a scenario. You're the owner and the lead project manager and lead consultant for a business improvement company. And you've been approached by the president of student enrollment from a university. And here's what they're wanting to do. Nearly all of their students are traditional 18-year-old students coming directly out of high school. But they realize that they're missing a big opportunity. They suspect that there are this group called non-traditional students or working adult students. Guess what? You're one of those, right? Who are looking to go back to college and to do certain things, but they don't know a lot of stuff about this, okay? They have some suspicions, but they're not really clear on what that is. So they have some questions here that you're going to help them solve. They also realize that these adult students may have some problems. They may have some challenges that traditional 18-year-olds don't have. And so what you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting together this paper, or we'll call it a proposal, we'll call it an academic paper. So I'm trying to work both sides of the fence here with this, if you get my drift. I'm trying to get you to be able to write an academic paper, but I'm also trying to give you a thought process to develop a personal paper going forward. So I want to make sure that you read all of this. And this is what's going to happen over the next few weeks. In week one, we're going to be working on an outline. Now, again, go to the week one overview and you'll have much more explanation of what that's going to be about. In week two, you're going to develop your implementation, or your introduction for this paper or proposal. In week three, you're going to have foundations and definitions, and so on and so on. This all follows something that I call the writing six-stop model, which is a designed process that will help walk the reader down a pathway to get them to say yes. So you'll see you're going to get your professor to say yes because it follows a certain format, and you're going to get your boss to say yes because it follows a certain format, okay? So here in week one, I go over a whole lot more information. Again, make sure that you look at the overview. But then what do you have to submit for the first week? Well, the first week, you just have to go in. I provided a six-stop paper template, and you have to provide some information on that. Again, you'll see that in week one overview. Now, each week, you're going to be adding to the exact same paper. So you're not writing a different paper each week. We're just walking you down a pathway where each week you're adding to the same paper. So when you submit week one, you'll submit that outline. When you submit week two, you'll submit that outline with the introduction section included. Week three, you'll have the outline, the introduction section, and then you're going to add to it the foundation and definitions, and so on, so that each week you're adding to the paper. You're not providing different papers every week, okay? Hopefully that makes sense for you, okay? So this is going to be the biggest thing that you're going to do, so that when we get to week 7, you're going to have one fully developed paper that goes through in great detail each one of these sections. So each week we start on a different thing. Each week we add to the paper, so that you get to the last week and you're going to have a masterpiece on your hands, okay? So that's what the course is all about. Down here I'll have a separate video that talks about grades, that talks about how you're going to be able to see your grades, but you'll also have that in this Start Here section up here. Just make sure that you fully understand I'll never email a grade to you. Everything will be resident in the grade book in the course. I'm very detailed on my responses, so make sure that you look at my comments in the grade book as you go forward. If you have any questions, I know this is a long video, but here in the first week I always find it necessary to do this so that you have a level of understanding going forward, okay? I look forward to the next few weeks. Again, any questions, make sure you let me know.